Imagine a family so rich they could buy Apple, Microsoft and Google, then still have billions left for pocket change. While Musk and Bezos are busy chasing headlines, this family has been quietly building a fortune so massive the world can barely comprehend it. Let's get into it. Living like gods among mortals. Imagine having so much money you could literally buy entire countries. That's the kind of wealth we're talking about when it comes to the House of Saud, the royal family of Saudi Arabia. With an estimated net worth of over $1.4 trillion, they're not just the richest Arab family, they might be the wealthiest dynasty in history. The House of Saud doesn't simply own expensive things. They possess assets so extraordinarily valuable and extravagant that they literally redefine our understanding of what wealth can accomplish in the physical world. Let's begin this journey through unimaginable luxury by examining their residences, though calling them houses would be like referring to the Pacific Ocean as a large swimming pool. The palaces owned and inhabited by the House of Saud aren't merely homes. They're architectural marvels that function as self-contained cities, complete with every conceivable amenity and luxury that human ingenuity can devise. Consider the magnificent Al Yamamah Palace in Riyadh, which serves as the official residence and administrative headquarters of the King of Saudi Arabia. This isn't just a large house or even an impressive mansion. Al Yamamah Palace spans approximately 4 million square feet, 370,000 square meters, and includes 1,000 rooms. To put this staggering scale into perspective, Al Yamamah Palace is larger than many small towns, encompassing more floor space than most people will encounter in their entire lifetimes. The palace features Italian marble interiors that gleam like mirrors, a private movie theater with seating and technology that would make commercial cinemas jealous, a full-size bowling alley for royal entertainment, multiple swimming pools that could accommodate small villages, and a mosque where the royal family can conduct their prayers in absolute privacy and splendor. But Al Yamamah represents just one jewel in a crown of properties that literally spans the globe. The family's wealth extends to real estate, luxury assets, and stakes in multinational corporations. Notable acquisitions include Leonardo da Vinci's Salvator Mundi, $450 million, and a $500 million yacht. Let's pause here for a moment and truly digest the implications of these purchases. The House of Saud acquired a single painting, one piece of art, for $450 million. To put this in perspective, that's more money than the annual gross domestic product of some entire countries. This particular painting, the Salvator Mundi attributed to Leonardo da Vinci, became the most expensive artwork ever sold at public auction when Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman acquired it in 2017. The mystery surrounding this painting adds another layer of intrigue to an already fascinating story. Nobody, not art experts, not investigative journalists, not even many members of the royal family knows exactly where this priceless masterpiece currently resides. Some reports suggest it hangs in one of the family's many palaces, while others speculate that it's housed aboard one of their luxury yachts, creating what might be the most expensive floating art gallery in the history of maritime luxury. Speaking of maritime luxury, let's explore the crown jewel of the House of Saud's naval assets, the super yacht Serene. This vessel redefines everything we thought we knew about luxury on the high seas. Serene, purchased by MBS in 2015 from Yuri Shefler for €500 million, $560 million, isn't just a yacht. It's a floating palace that challenges our preconceptions about what's possible in maritime engineering and luxury design. The specifications of Serene read like something from a science fiction novel rather than a real-world vessel. This 439-foot yacht, built by Fincantieri, accommodates 24 guests across 15 cabins and 52 crew members. Amenities include 7 swimming pools, an underwater viewing room, a spa, a gym, a movie theater, an indoor climbing wall, a helicopter hangar, 2 helipads, a submarine garage, and a jet stream swimming pool. Each of these features represents a level of luxury and engineering sophistication that most people will never encounter, even in the world's most exclusive resorts. The fact that Bill Gates, one of the wealthiest individuals in human history, chose to rent Serene for his vacation needs speaks volumes about its extraordinary nature. When Gates paid $5 million for just 1 week aboard this vessel, he was essentially acknowledging that the House of Saud had created something so uniquely luxurious that even someone with his vast personal fortune preferred to rent rather than attempt to build something comparable. But the House of Saud's approach to transportation extends far beyond their maritime assets. Their aviation fleet represents a collection of flying palaces that transform our understanding of luxury air travel. They own multiple Boeing and Airbus aircraft, including Boeing 747-400S, Boeing 777S, and Airbus A340S, often retrofitted with luxurious interiors. These aren't merely expensive private jets. They're commercial-sized aircraft that have been completely transformed transformed into airborne residences. A notable example is the $500 million Boeing 747, 8 owned by Prince Al-Walid bin Talal, featuring a throne room, private suites, and a dining area for 30 guests. Imagine boarding what appears to be a standard commercial airliner, only to find yourself in a space more luxurious and comfortable than most people's homes, complete with gold-plated fixtures, including sinks and seatbelt buckles, 2 luxurious bedrooms, a 14-seat dining area, and a cream and gold throne dominating the main lounge. The royal family's automotive preferences reveal yet another dimension of their extraordinary lifestyle. Prince Turki bin Abdullah owns a $22 million collection, including a gold-plated Lamborghini Aventador SV, $1.2 million alone, and other hypercars like Bugatti Chirons and Pagani Huayras. But this isn't simply about owning expensive automobiles, it's about commissioning vehicles so customized, so extensively modified, and so lavishly decorated that they become rolling works of art that happen to have engines. Turkey's fleet, often flown to London for display, caused a stir in 2016, with vehicles parked outside luxury hotels and accumulating parking tickets. Picture the scene: gold-plated supercars lining the streets of one of the world's most expensive cities, each worth more than most people's homes, accumulating parking tickets like confetti because the cost of those fines represents pocket change to their owner. The House of Saud's art collection extends far beyond the famous Salvator Mundi, encompassing works that represent some of the most valuable and culturally significant pieces in private hands anywhere in the world. Their collection includes works by Picasso, Murakami, and Koons, reflecting their immense purchasing power. Pablo Picasso's Les Femmes d'Alger was acquired for $160 million, while their contemporary collection features works by artists whose pieces typically hang in the world's most prestigious museums and private collections. But if there's one moment that truly captures their surreal approach to wealth, it's the now famous Falcon flight, an incident that sounds fictional until you realize it's entirely real. The family once booked an entire commercial flight for 80 Falcons, each bird assigned its own first-class seat. Picture walking through an international airport and seeing rows of majestic falcons calmly perched in leather seats, flying more comfortably than most humans ever will. It sounds like satire, but for the House of Saud, that's just another Tuesday. Beyond extravagant displays, the royal family has mastered the art of soft power and global influence. Their investments in sports, entertainment, and culture aren't just about prestige. They're a calculated strategy to reshape global perception and build political capital worldwide. To grasp the true scale of their wealth, we need to compare it to other financial giants. The House of Saud's estimated net worth sits at $1.4 trillion. That dwarfs the Walton family, $432 billion, and even outpaces individuals like Elon Musk, $400 billion as of 2025. When we place these numbers side by side, the House of Saud's wealth becomes more than just impressive. It becomes almost incomprehensible. Imagine having enough liquid assets to buy Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Google combined, then having enough left over to purchase several small countries and still wonder what to do with your remaining pocket change. This is the kind of financial firepower we're discussing when we talk about the House of Saud. But wealth of this magnitude doesn't appear overnight, nor does it emerge from a vacuum of fortune and circumstance. The story of how this incredible dynasty accumulated such unprecedented riches is a tale that spans centuries, continents, and the very foundations of modern geopolitics. It begins in the harsh, unforgiving landscape of 18th century Arabia, the desert empire that dwarfs all others. The House of Saud traces its origins to Mohammed bin Saud, who founded the Emirate of Diriyah, first Saudi state, in 1744, in alliance with religious reformer Muhammad ibn Abd al-Wahhab. This wasn't merely a political partnership born of convenience or mutual benefit, it represented something far more profound and enduring. Yet the true transformation of this desert kingdom from a collection of warring tribes into a global economic superpower began with one extraordinary man, King Abdulaziz ibn Saud, whose vision, determination, and political genius laid the foundation for everything that would follow. The modern Kingdom of Saudi Arabia was established by Abdulaziz bin Abdul Rahman al Saud, Ibn Saud, in 1932, after unifying much of the Arabian Peninsula. This unification wasn't achieved through diplomatic negotiations or peaceful mergers. It required decades of military campaigns, strategic alliances, and political maneuvering that would have challenged the greatest empire builders in history. Ibn Saud's achievement becomes even more remarkable when we consider the context in which it occurred. The Arabian Peninsula in the early 20th century was a patchwork of competing tribes, rival claimants to authority, and external powers seeking to establish their own spheres of influence. The Ottoman Empire was collapsing. European colonial powers were expanding their reach into the Middle East, and local strongmen were carving out their own territories through force of arms. Into this chaos stepped Ibn Saud, who not only survived but thrived, ultimately creating a unified kingdom that would soon become one of the most important nations on earth. But even Ibn Saud, with all his military prowess, political acumen, and visionary leadership, could never have imagined the treasure that lay hidden beneath the desert sands his armies had conquered. The discovery that would change everything came in 1938, a year that represents one of the most pivotal moments in modern economic history. The discovery of oil in the 1930s under King Abdulaziz ibn Saud transformed this newly unified desert kingdom from a relatively poor nation dependent on pilgrimage revenues and modest trade into the center of the global energy economy. The scale of this transformation cannot be overstated. Imagine the excitement, the disbelief, and ultimately the overwhelming realization that struck the royal family when they understood they hadn't just discovered oil. They had stumbled upon what would prove to be one of the largest and most accessible petroleum reserves in human history. Saudi Arabia holds approximately 17% of the world's proven petroleum reserves, providing a steady stream of income that has sustained and exponentially grown their wealth for nearly a century. This oil wealth didn't just provide the House of Saud with income, it gave them leverage, influence, and power on a global scale that few entities in human history have ever possessed. The vehicle through which this incredible resource has been managed and monetized is Saudi Aramco, the world's most valuable company with a valuation exceeding $2 trillion. To put this astronomical valuation into perspective, Saudi Aramco is worth more than the entire gross domestic product of most countries, including economic powerhouses like Italy, Brazil, and Canada. The House of Saud controls Aramco, which generates massive revenues from oil production, creating a financial pipeline that has funded not only their personal wealth, but also the transformation of Saudi Arabia from a desert kingdom into a modern nation with infrastructure, education systems, healthcare networks, and military capabilities that rival any developed country. The profits from Aramco don't just flow into bank accounts, they flow into the very foundations of a modern state and the personal fortunes of one of history's most successful dynasties. But the House of Saud's financial genius extends far beyond simply extracting and selling oil. They have demonstrated a sophisticated understanding of wealth management, diversification, and strategic investment that would impress the most seasoned portfolio managers on Wall Street. The Public Investment Fund, PIF, chaired by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, manages over $700 billion in assets, with investments in global companies like Uber, Blackstone, and SoftBank's Vision Fund. This isn't just diversification for the sake of diversification. It's a carefully orchestrated strategy to ensure that the House of Saud's wealth and influence remain intact and continue growing even as the global economy evolves and potentially moves away from fossil fuels. The structure and scale of this remarkable family is as impressive as their accumulated wealth. The House of Saud comprises approximately 15,000 members, with wealth and power concentrated among 2,000 core members. Think about this for a moment. We're talking about a family so large that it could populate a small city, yet so well organized and hierarchically structured that the most crucial decisions affecting the destiny of an entire kingdom rest with an inner circle of approximately 2,000 individuals. This represents a level of family governance and wealth management that is unprecedented in human history. At the apex of this vast familial empire sits King Salman bin Abdulaziz, the current monarch who has overseen the kingdom during one of its most transformative and challenging periods in modern history. But the real architect of Saudi Arabia's future, the visionary driving the kingdom's most ambitious modernization efforts, and the individual who will likely shape the House of Saud's destiny for decades to come, is Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, MBS, who has emerged as the driving force behind the kingdom's ambitious Vision 2030 program. This is wealth and power operating on a scale that doesn't just affect individual lives or even single communities. It literally reshapes entire nations, influences global markets, and impacts international political relationships. The future of a trillion-dollar dynasty. This isn't just about who has the most money today. It's about understanding how the House of Saud has positioned themselves in a completely different league from their regional competitors, while simultaneously engineering a future that could make their current $1.4 trillion fortune look modest by comparison. Let's begin by establishing the competitive landscape among Arab royal families, because the numbers tell a story of dominance so complete it's almost difficult to believe. When we examine the wealth of other prominent Arab dynasties, the House of Saud's supremacy becomes not just impressive, but absolutely staggering in its scope and scale. The Al Nahyan family of the UAE represents the second richest Arab family, with wealth estimated between $305, $323.9 billion. While this represents an enormous fortune by any standard, it constitutes less than 1/4 of the House of Saud's estimated wealth. The Al Nahyans control 6% of the world's oil reserves through ADNOC and manage the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority with $696, $829 billion in assets, yet their wealth is distributed across the federated structure of the UAE, where power and resources are shared among 7 emirates, rather than concentrated in a single ruling family. The Al Thani family of Qatar, with estimated wealth ranging from $172.9 billion to $335 billion depending on the source, has built an impressive portfolio through natural gas exports and strategic investments. The Qatar Investment Authority manages $450 billion in assets, with stakes in Volkswagen, British Airways, and iconic properties like the Shard and Harrods in London. Their art collection, valued in the billions, includes pieces acquired for hundreds of millions of dollars. Yet even their most generous wealth estimates place them at roughly 1/4 of the House of Saud's financial power. The Al Sabah family of Kuwait, estimated at $360 billion, benefits from Kuwait's 10% share of global oil reserves and manages wealth through the Kuwait Investment Authority. The Kuwait Investment Authority, one of the world's oldest sovereign wealth funds, manages $700 billion with significant investments in US stocks and shares. While substantial, their fortune still represents only about 1/4 of the Saudi royal family's wealth. When we examine non-royal Arab families, the wealth gap becomes even more pronounced, revealing just how exceptional the House of Saud's position truly is. The Sawiris family of Egypt, the richest non-royal Arab family, has a combined net worth of $11.6 billion, led by brothers Nassif Sawiris, $7.8 billion, Naguib Sawiris, $3.3 billion, and others. They've built their fortune through construction, telecommunications, and diversified investments. Nassif's wealth stems from a 6% stake in Adidas and his role as executive chair of OCI Global, a major nitrogen fertilizer producer, while Naguib sold Orascom Telecom to Vimpelcom for billions and holds stakes in gold mining and media. Yet their entire family wealth represents less than 1% of the House of Saud's fortune. Think about this remarkable disparity. The House of Saud's single art purchase of the Salvator Mundi for $450 million represents nearly 4% of the entire Sawiris family fortune. The Saudi royal family could purchase the Sawiris business empire more than 100 times over with their current wealth. The Mansour family of Egypt, with a net worth of $6.7 billion, built their fortune through the Mansour Group, which distributes General Motors and Caterpillar products and owns McDonald's franchises in Egypt. The Mikati family of Lebanon, worth $5.6 billion, co-founded M1 Group with significant telecom and real estate investments. The Hariri family of Lebanon, with $4.8 billion, focuses on real estate through Horizon Group and tech startups, while the Al Ghuraya family of UAE, worth $4.2 billion, founded Mashrek Bank with assets of $69.3 billion. These are impressive fortunes by any global standard, representing successful multi-generational business empires and sophisticated investment strategies. Yet when placed alongside the House of Saud's wealth, they appear almost modest. The Saudi royal family's single yacht, the Serene, cost more than these entire family fortunes. Their annual spending on luxury goods and lifestyle maintenance likely exceeds the total net worth of most other wealthy Arab families. But what truly sets the House of Saud apart isn't just their current wealth. It's their vision for the future and their unprecedented commitment to ensuring their dynasty's relevance and prosperity for generations to come. At the heart of this strategy lies Vision 2030, the most ambitious economic transformation program ever conceived by any nation, led by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, with the full backing of the royal family's financial resources. The Public Investment Fund, central to Vision 2030, aims to grow from its current $925 billion to $1.1 trillion by 2025 and $2 trillion by 2030, potentially becoming the world's largest sovereign wealth fund. To put this ambition in perspective, they're planning to create a single investment fund larger than the entire GDP of most countries, including economic powerhouses like Italy, Brazil, and Canada. The technological investments flowing from this strategy position the House of Saud at the forefront of industries that will define the next century of human development. Recent partnerships with NVIDIA to supply 18,000 chips for AI projects and collaborations with Amazon Web Services to create an AI zone represent strategic positioning in artificial intelligence. These aren't merely financial investments. They're systematic efforts to ensure Saudi Arabia becomes a global leader in the technologies that will shape human civilization. The scale of their infrastructure projects projects dwarfs anything attempted by other wealthy families or even most nations. NEOM, the $500 billion futuristic city project, represents an investment larger than the entire current net worth of all other Arab royal families combined. NEOM includes The Line, a 170 km linear city designed to house millions of people in a completely reimagined urban environment. This isn't just urban planning, it's an attempt to literally build the future from scratch, creating new models for human habitation, energy consumption, and technological integration. The Red Sea Project, another Vision 2030 initiative, aims to create a luxury tourism destination that will redefine hospitality and environmental sustainability. These projects represent long-term thinking that extends far beyond the current generation, ensuring that the House of Saud's wealth and influence will continue growing even as global economic paradigms shift away from oil dependency. Their approach to global investment diversification reveals sophisticated wealth management strategies that other Arab families simply cannot match in scale or scope. The PIF's international investments include stakes in Uber, $3.5 billion, SoftBank Vision Fund, $45 billion commitment, and Lucid Motors, majority stake worth $8.9 billion. Additional investments span gaming companies like Activision Blizzard, $3.3 billion, Electronic Arts, $2.98 billion, and Take-Two Interactive, $1.36 billion. These individual investments often exceed the entire net worth of other wealthy Arab families, demonstrating the House of Saud's ability to participate in global markets at a scale that ensures their continued influence regardless of how the world economy evolves. The family's succession planning and governance structure provide additional advantages that other dynasties lack. The House of Saud comprises approximately 15,000 members, with wealth and power concentrated among 2,000 core members, creating a structure that can sustain and grow wealth across generations while maintaining family unity and shared strategic vision. Unlike other wealthy families that might see wealth dilution across generations or family disputes that weaken their position, the House of Saud's systematic approach to wealth management and family governance suggests their dominance will continue indefinitely. Their cultural and soft power investments represent another dimension where they operate beyond the reach of other families. Ownership of Newcastle United, creation of Live Golf, and partnerships with major sports organizations represent strategic investments in global influence that extend far beyond financial returns. When the House of Saud can literally reshape entire sports industries and cultural institutions, they demonstrate power that transcends mere wealth accumulation. The educational and institutional investments being made to prepare future generations of the royal family for leadership roles ensure continuity of vision and capability. Unlike other wealthy families that might struggle with succession planning or intergenerational wealth transfer, the House of Saud has created systems and institutions that will perpetuate their advantages across decades. Their approach to economic diversification through Vision 2030 also provides protection against the risks that threaten other oil-dependent wealthy families. While families like the Al Thanis, Al Nahyans, and Al Sabahs remain heavily dependent on hydrocarbon revenues, the House of Saud is systematically building alternative revenue streams through technology, tourism, renewable energy, and financial services. The entertainment and media investments flowing through the PF position them to influence global culture and information, flows in ways that other wealthy families cannot match. Stakes in companies like Live Nation, $880 million, and entertainment firms provide influence over cultural content and global media narratives. When we examine the House of Saud's position relative to other Arab families, the evidence overwhelmingly demonstrates that they operate in a category entirely their own. Their current wealth advantage is so substantial that other families would need to increase their fortunes by 300 to 400% just to reach competitive levels. But more importantly, their strategic investments and long-term planning suggest that this gap will continue widening rather than narrowing in the coming decades. The House of Saud isn't just the richest Arab family today, they're systematically ensuring they'll remain the richest Arab family for generations to come, while simultaneously positioning themselves as one of the most influential forces shaping the future of human civilization itself. Thanks for watching. If you had a good time, keep the adventure alive by clicking on one of the suggested videos on your screen right now for more amazing content.